Just a reminder that I am not an animator, nor am I an artist. I am just a guy with a fun story that I'd like to share. With that out of the way, this is a story from a D&D home campaign that I DM'd. And before you click off the video, you do not have to play a D&D to enjoy the absurdity here. On to the story, and every story needs a cast of crazy characters. Most campaigns have 4 or 5 characters, but mine didn't have 8, it didn't have 10, my campaign had upwards of 14 characters. Needless to say, I'm not going in depth on each character unless y'all really like the video. I'll start with a quirky little gnome by the name of Orcastle No Mercy. Yes, he was a walking pun, yes, he wore a pointy hat, he had a collection, and yes, we love him. Well, just as an example of the kind of stuff that the guy would do, while in a large city called Thisdane, he decided to buy no less than 1,000 ball bearings. I recently asked the player why he did this, and he just said, just because ball bearings are fun. And with 14 of these quirky characters, something crazy is bound to happen. Well, I suppose it did, but not before the group had taken a quest from an unorthodox armorsmith named Balthier. Now, Balthier didn't create armor from steel or even mithril. He made armor from creatures. He made chest plates from the scale of massive reptilian creatures and helmets from the exoskeletons of creatures that roamed the Underdark. When the party entered his shop, he turned to Orcastle and the rest of the group. "Oh, good friends, I've some business to interest you in. I call it the Shield of Invulnerability." He produced a large shield from under the counter and explained that he needed the scales of a white dragon to incorporate cold resistance into the shield. "I have located a white dragon to the south of the city, in the mountains, but I am too weak in my age to confront such a creature." The party was low on gold, and Balthier was a close friend, so they took off into the forest. They went towards the Mountain of Frost. Before arriving, they came across a bear, but not a normal bear, a bear carcass with large bite marks and chunks taken out of it. Thinking that this may be the dragon's work, the party tracks the blood trail through the forest. They found massive reptiles, but they weren't dragons. They were large dinosaurs, T-Rexes. After a battle that I am not going to animate because I am one person, and no. The druid finds themselves cornered, and just as she stares down the maw of an angry T-Rex, we introduce our second character. Broad, a Goliath barbarian who is Path of the Bear, which for the people that don't play D&D, means that he is nearly indestructible. And just because I know this player will at me if I don't say his full title, his name was Broad, the Forgotten of Koronabura, Master of Maps, of the Dragon, the Lightning Bolt of the Renegades. At least, I think that was the full title, I always miss one. His physical brawn was known throughout the multiple realms. Sadly, so was his stupidity, which will come into play and causes all sorts of shenanigans coming up. He said, "Big thing eat for survive, you don't need eat her," and chopped the thing's head off. He then took its eye as a trophy for the kill. You know, D&D things. This will come into play too, but patience! Eventually, the party made it to the beautiful valley on top of a mountain with a frozen lake. Upon reaching the frozen peak, a tribe of white dragonborn ambushed the party and their leader approached. "Why have you come to our holy shrine?" This is where Broad just said, "We are here to kill White Dragon." To this, all the Dragonborn looked at each other, brandished their weapons, and just as they were about to attack, we introduce our third character. Her name was Rayla, and she was a wide-eyed and innocent girl. Oh, and she was a warlock who sold her soul to an archfiend for ungodly power. You know, sweet innocent things. She turned to the group with her intelligence of 5, I think, and a perfect charisma, and said, "Hey, why do we have to fight? Why don't we, play a game?" I had her roll a charisma check, and what do you know, it's a natural 20, which means that she gets the best possible result, which I rolled in this case, that this confused the Dragonborn to the point that they decided to let their god decide. The leader approached the center of the lake, and said, "Lord, may you show these heathens the error of their ways, and destroy them, Arcanon!" And as he said this, the ice began to crack, and blue eyes were seen below the surface of the frozen lake. The frozen surface exploded as a massive white dragon broke free from his watery lair and stared down the party. He said, "Why have you dared to wake me?" And calmly, Rayla said, "Hey, you have a nice lake. what if we play hockey? I had her roll another persuasion. Another nat 20. Delightful. However, colored dragons in D&D are personifications of evil, and I wasn't ready to let them sway the Ice King Arcanon that easy. I had the dragon roll to resist the persuasion of the stupid, literally stupid little girl. And he rolled a natural 1. The opposite of a nat 20, which means a critical failure. So, the dragon just said, "Foolish girl, we do not have the equipment. It would be simpler for me to freeze and eat you now." At this moment, the party stopped. The wind died down. As they could see blue energy form in the dragon's mouth, Rayla wasn't exceptionally tough, and she was standing alone. The dragon unleashed his breath weapon. But Broad stepped in front of Rayla and took the brunt of the blow. He was holding the T-Rex eye, which now has been frozen solid, and Broad said, "No, we have Puck and we can make rest." And I had him roll yet another persuasion check. Yet another natural 20! At this point, I conceded that this was indeed happening. The entire group chipped in. Broad chopped down several trees and tied them together to create goals. Orcastle produced 1,000 ball bearings from earlier. Yes, the same 1,000 ball bearings that he had bought just because ball bearings are fun. I guess they came in handy here. Anyway, the druid used heat metal to heat up the ball bearings, and our forge cleric used one of the stumps as an anvil to forge them into skates. These were then attached to everyone's boots by the ranger. Lastly, hockey sticks were fashioned by the druid from the branches of the trees Broad cut down. Like this, the Renegades, the name of the party, not only were an adventuring party, but also became a hockey team. And like this, the battle was on, and I had to homebrew my own rules for a game of hockey. The dragon raised walls of ice in front of the goal, so goal couldn't be scored. Orcastle used his thrown daggers to knock the puck from a distance. It all played like an anime filler episodes, all the characters using their tremendous powers and abilities on an otherwise simple game of hockey. Eventually, the ice wall was broken, and the puck, or eye, was in the dragon's claws. It was down to the wire, but Broad kicked the eye out and backflipped behind the dragon, taking a blunt swing at its hide on the way over. Then, from mid-court, Broad barely made the shot through the section of broken ice wall, and the game was won. The dragon, absolutely humiliated by his loss, flew away, and the Dragonborn scattered. It looked for a moment like the mission was failed. After all, the mission was to grab white dragon scales, and the group didn't get any. Well, it turns out that Broad had hit the dragon hard enough to knock loose a few scales, and that was more than enough to complete the mission. The party went down the mountain, and the session went down in history as the time the group played hockey with a dragon. The group still reminisces about the session, and the story was posted by my friend on a TikTok, Uncommon Magic Item, with this video. Well, if you made it this far, you must have liked the video. So hey, I'm glad you liked it. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to subscribe. I'm still deciding if I want to be an animation or tutorial or gaming channel, so just let me know in the comments. Also, I think this story is worth sharing, so to treat the players who made this possible, it would be awesome if you shared this to anyone that you think would appreciate this absurdity. Well, like at the end of every video, I like to go off script just to be a little bit closer to you guys. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate everything that y'all do. Yeah, enjoy my stuff. Just tell me what you want me to make this channel, because I will do it. And it'll be great. We can build this community together. So, thank you so much for watching and bearing with my terrible artistic experience. And I hope you all have a great day. Oh, most importantly, more than anything, stay nerdy. Peace.